Hello everyone, welcome to my One Piece chapter 993 review. In short, just a great chapter. It was really worth the wait. And it was always worth the wait. A great story told slowly and over time will always be better than a mediocre story that was rushed. And both will always be better than a story never finished because the author got sick and died. So, Oda, you can take all the time you need so we can stay healthy, stay safe until we can eventually see the end of this fantastic tale we all love so much. Now, first things first, we get to see Yamato's official colorization, and I love it. I love the hair, especially the color fade, and I like that Yamato kind of fits within the brunette, redhead, blonde dynamic if they do join the crew that already sort of exists between Robin and Nami. Carrot also fits because she's blonde, very adorably so, but I just thought that was an interesting observation. Also, an interesting observation is that, so Kozuki means moonlight, and Yamato's main color of hair is that kind of beautiful silvery white that looks very much like moonlight. And I thought that was neat. I also loved the red of the horn and eyes. I kind of wanted Yamato to have like a tanned skin tone to go with Kaido, but I do like this. I also like the colors of the outfit, how there's enough red and white in there to differentiate herself from Odin, or himself, or their self, depending on which you prefer. And overall, just a great colorization, and I can't wait to see it in the anime. First things first, let's talk about Perospero and Big Mom and Marco. We find out the alliance was the plan of Big Mom's, and in her conversation with Perospero, she's like, "What, you kids don't trust me?" And he's like, No, of course we do, Big Mom. And that dynamic has always interested me, because when you strip away the fantastical element of it, you have the very sadly common dynamic of the eldest child of a family trying to rein in and balance an unstable, unfit parent with the protection of the rest of the younger siblings. It's a dynamic I've seen far too often with my job, and it's always sad. So that also reignites the question of what is Big Mom planning? We know she wants an alliance with Kaido, who she doesn't seem to think much of. She called him a thing once. And that's saying something, considering Big Mom that's kind of her dream too, for all races to be able to see each other equally. And then there's Marco in the entire situation, kind of being like, no, the remains of the Whitebeard pirates can all do their own thing. We're all free men. So what does that mean? What is he planning? He's got the anime glasses eye shine going, so he's clearly scheming. He's obviously against Kaido. So that's a pretty solid thing. He won't be betraying the rest of the alliance to Kaido. He wouldn't be betraying Luffy, because Luffy is Ace's younger brother. And he wouldn't be betraying Izo, because they were brothers as well. So he's still clearly against Kaido, but does that mean he's going to be teaming up with Big Mom? Or is he now going to be fighting Big Mom and Perospero? Because he does say that temporary alliance with Perospero is over. And then, speaking of Perospero, who, by the way, makes me uncomfortable in ways I cannot begin to put in words, few things in this world make me that uncomfortable. I think it's his mouth. I think it's the tongue. It freaks me out. I don't like Perospero. I don't like him at all. And that's a good thing, because it looks like Carrot and Wanda are on their ways to fight him, which means Sulong Carrot 2.0. I can't wait to see it. We'll also get to see what Wanda looks like in her Sulong form. I'm guessing one of those fancy poodles. But I like Wanda. I love Carrot. Can't wait to see that fight. It'll also be a good opportunity for a Carrot flashback, which the Carrot for Nakama people really need to back up their claim. I love Carrot. I'd like her to join the crew. I'd like both Yamato and Carrot to join the crew. I'd like Yamato, Carrot, and Tama to join the crew in the perfect world I have in my head. But that will definitely be fun to see. I think it could be a really good 2v1 fight, and also depending on where Marco lands on the spectrum, he could also get into there. Lots of fun stuff, lots of fun possibilities. Oda is definitely moving his pieces on the board for the end of Act 3, which, as we all know, will probably be ending in tragedy. Then we have Black Maria, and Black Maria continues to fascinate me as a character, because we don't really know where she's at. She's with the Beast Pirates, of course, and she's one of their strongest members. She wouldn't be a member of the Tobiropo if not, but she doesn't seem particularly interested in the piratey side of pirating. She's not out there fighting. She has sympathy for Momonosuke. You know, she was like sad to see him beat up. She put him in her lap and tried to comfort him. So what is she going on with? What is her plan? And even now, she's in there playing the song. The song is interesting. Is it the one Hiyori is playing? I've heard some people say yes, I've heard some people say no, but I don't believe that song ever had lyrics. But one of the interesting theories I heard is that she's actually knows Hiyori, know her as Komurasaki, and maybe legitimately as Hiyori, and may have been the one who kind of trained her in the art of how to be a courtesan. And that's kind of why she's not fighting, but she's also not resisting Kaido. She might be kind of a spy for Hiyori, or at the very least Hiyori's ally. And that would be an interesting twist. Again, we don't know much about her. We don't even know her devil fruit. We also don't know whose devil fruit is, but I think a lot of us believe he'll be a saber-toothed tiger, which I would love to see, because they're one of my favorite animals. Now, about the song she's playing. Songs are very often used for foreshadowing. In this case, it's one of the people listening to the song say it's romantic, but that could be a misdirection. I think the song is probably referring to Hiyori and Momonosuke, two people who've really wanted to see each other, but haven't gotten a chance to. It could also be referring, though, if we do actually go with the romantic interpretation, it could be referring to Tsuru and Kinemon. Kinemon, who really wanted to see his wife, but for her own protection isn't approaching her. We know how much he loves her, we know how much he wants to be with her, and we all know how many death flags for Kinemon there are. So, again, that could be the tragedy. Kinemon dies, and Tsuru is there for like his last breath, so they're reunited, but it's not a happy reunion. And then we have Luffy, and he's still making his way up. He's still trying to get to where Kaido's fighting the Scabbards. It's funny that despite the kind of big color spread being Yamato and Luffy neither appear much, but as Luffy said himself, that the first punch against Kaido was not his or Yamato's to throw. You know what I think would be a really cool callback and way to kind of further Momonosuke's development is if he is the one who gets Luffy up to Kaido using his devil fruit powers. Because if you remember all the way back in Punk Hazard, that is how Momonosuke gets him and Luffy out of that trash heap. I think that's a trash heap. Though it's pretty much accidental. He didn't do it on purpose. But as an interesting way for Momonosuke to further his development, to get over his fears of flying and of dragons, to be the one to get Luffy up there to fight Kaido eventually would be both a good callback, good parallel, and just a good moment for Momonosuke. Speaking of Momonosuke, he and Shinobu are still running from what they perceive to be a crazy person. And let's face it, Yamato does definitely have some issues, but that's pretty funny. Again, I do think they'll end up closer to Luffy, and I think maybe Yamato will fight someone to protect them, and that's how they'll kind of see that that Yamato is in fact on their side, even if they're obviously a little crazy. And of course, the bulk of this chapter is taken up again by the Scabbards versus Kaido, and my god, what a fantastic throwdown that is. We really get to see the Scabbards go all out. We get to see Inuarashi and Nekomamushi actually using their fake limbs against Kaido, and I think that's a really good middle finger. When Jack crucified them and tortured them for the location of Raizo, no one expected for them to eventually use that to get revenge. and it is fantastic. So many great moments, so many great little attacks. Raizo is definitely the MVP with his kind of reverse blast. So does Raizo have a devil fruit? I thought he swam to Zoe. Or is this just some sort of ninjutsu technique? Because this looks like an awful lot like a devil fruit power, like a scroll fruit or something. But ultimately, I guess we don't know. It'll probably be further explained later. Because aside from the devil fruits and the and hockey, which if you consider that a magic system, magic is pretty limited in the One Piece universe. There's a lot of weird science, but at the end of the day, it could kind of be counted as science. I think the only real example is Madame Charlet's foresight ability. That's the only thing that to my immediate memory that kind of sort of counts as an outside system of magic. Aside from, I guess, the voice of all things and Shirahoshi's ability to communicate with the Sea Kings. Those, I think, kind of count as magic, and as much as anything does. So, that is going to be something that has to be explained. Either way, Raizo is definitely the MVP of that fight, and I love him more for that, because he was always, seemed to be the least capable, or least involved fighter. But it was great. The art in this chapter is just really beautiful to see all the different scales on Kaido, to see all the different moves. Really well rendered. Was Oda drawing the entire time he was supposed to be recovering? I would not doubt it. Now on to Kaido himself. A lot of people are disappointed, a lot of people think he's not living up to the hype, but we gotta remember that this is not Kaido's strongest form, as kind of an anime cliche it is that to say. We have yet to see him in his hybrid form. And there's also the theory that Kaido was a dragon initially who ate the Oni fruit, in which case that would probably make his dragon form the most visually cool, but also the least powerful. And I do think that that'll be how he kind of ends the fight. He's like, you know what, enough of this. You had your fun. This has been kind of amusing. Let's get serious. So he kind of puts a stop to it. He stomps everyone. And that'll kind of be how Act 3 ends. So it's going to be a tragedy. I think he's going to see Yamato fighting, kind of go like, ugh, my idiot kid. So he'll put an end to the fighting, grab Yamato, and they'll go somewhere else. And I think that'll how we'll transition into a flashback where he's like, let me tell you the story of how we both came to be. And that'll be Kaido's flashback. And through that we could see things like the rock pirates, where Kaido came from, if he truly is some sort of non-human being. And then I think from there we could almost seamlessly slide into a Yamato flashback, which explains their past. And this could be kind of our breather. And even if a lot of time doesn't actually pass, it could give both the audience kind of a break from whatever happens at the end of Act 3. And then we could have a couple of episodes of the characters licking their wounds to finally prepare for the finale. So at the end of the day, great chapter, definitely worth the wait. There's no break next week, so we get to see what is actually going on. Will we still get to chapter 1000? I'm not sure. I think Oda would basically have to get a chapter out every week until the end of the year. And I don't think that will be the case, but who knows? Maybe chapter 1000 will start off 2021. Maybe it'll be too good for 2020, because this year has been shit. I think everyone will agree with me on that. So, what was your thoughts on this chapter? What do you think is to come? Are you waited anxiously for the other shoe to drop? That will be the tragedy that ends Act 3. Like, comment, subscribe, and tell me your thoughts. Bye.